What about the other Los Angeles team, the Rams?
I have to applaud. With as aggressive as they were in building this thing up, they were equally as aggressive in tearing it down. And I hate teams that kind of waffle in the middle and do the quote unquote competitive rebuild and all that nonsense. Either be terrible or try to be very good. So I do commend the Rams for kind of ripping the Band-Aid off and moving on from a lot of players. Like Leonard Floyd's still a good player in the NFL, still not signed for some reason. But just look, he's not gonna. You don't want to spend 15 plus whatever $1 million it was on him. If you want to move on from Jalen Ramsey, which it sounds like they kind of have for a while now, just go ahead and do it. Obviously, did not love the trade value there, getting a 3rd round pick and a backup tight end in Hunter Long, but nevertheless, they knew they needed to start over, and they did it very, very aggressively. It'll suit them going forward. So I have to commend them for that.
Yeah, I kind of wonder whether they needed to certainly trade away Jalen Ramsey. Like, I understand last season unspooled in a hurry. I still think the Rams could be put back together quite quickly, especially in the NFC, when you don't have the same concerns that we talked about of, God, look at this landscape. Like, how are we ever going to beat all these other teams? You look at the NFC, and it's like, all right, all we need to do is to make an NFC championship game where we face either Philadelphia or San Francisco, presumably. That's doable. We don't even need to be great to do that, because we're probably only going to need to win like one consequential game before we get into the Super Bowl. So a team like the Rams that have been there already and have, Aaron Donald and Cooper Kupp and Jalen Ramsey and Matthew Stafford, like, you could see that happening reasonably quickly. I don't know that I would have traded away Jalen Ramsey to start that whole process. But I agree with you. If you're going to do it, let's go. Let's get it going. I really like their draft. Like, this was obviously an interesting draft because they didn't have the 1st round pick. Again, they picked 36 overall, then 77, 89. And they got a lot of players that I think will actually contribute and, make useful impacts on this roster. Steve Avila, the TCU guard with their 1st pick, 36 overall, will start, I would assume. Byron Young, the edge rusher from Tennessee, should be a real contributor. He has insane athleticism and just hustle and could absolutely make some plays. Kobe Turner, their other 3rd round pick, an interior guy. Nick Hampton was, I think, both mine and Steve's sleeper edge rusher, a guy they got in the 5th. Trey Tomlinson in the 6th round is one of the steals of the draft. Like, they got a lot of players in this draft for relative to where they were picking and how many times.
Yeah, no, totally agree. I like Puka Nacua. They got him as well. I do think it's a good class. I actually like Kobe Turner. You mentioned a good bit on the interior. I think he fits well with Aaron Donald. The one pick that, just makes no sense to me is Stetson Bennett. But you know what? I guess get a quarterback on the roster. Get another Georgia boy in there behind Matthew Stafford. But, yeah, just didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me there.
Stetson Bennett, I think, if you buy into this, like, Stetson Bennett is a baller, moxie type of thing, you just fall in love with that dude. And I genuinely think the Rams just love that guy. Like, today it came out, or yesterday, that in like 7 years of Georgia or whatever, the guy still hasn't graduated yet. I like him more for that. I think that's better. Like, somehow he spent like a decade in college and is still, hasn't got himself graduated. That guy is just laser focused on outperforming everybody's expectations and winning titles. And I want that. I want that guy on my team.
Rams used a 4th round pick on Alex Moran from Blue Mountain State, is what you're saying.
Yes.
That's a reference for those who get it. And hey, I guess if it works, it works. That's
exactly what Stetson Bennett is. Except Alex Moran, with some actual arm talent and stuff. Like, that's who I want. I want Stetson Bennett on the team. I have no problem with that pick whatsoever. But you fall that in with all the other ones that I think make genuine impacts year one. I think this is a really good draft. So overall, what do we give it? An A- for their draft, a C for their relatively quiet free agency that actually involved hemorrhaging players more than signing them. And that shakes out to a B grade overall for their offseason.